The Voices America Trust. Download it now.
Powerful storms moving through the southeast this weekend, causing several deaths. Fox's Kevin Uretsky has more on that.
Up to 6 inches of rain has fallen throughout parts of the Ohio and Tennessee valleys, leaving tragedy behind. Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear says at least 8 people in his state have died.
So many of these fatalities were due to attempts to drive through water and through moving water. So folks, stay off the roads right now and stay alive.
Beshear says there have been over 1,000 rescues thus far in Kentucky, but that the storm's impact will last.
We're going to be actively dealing with this flood for probably the next week in different parts of at least getting things cleaned up.
One man was killed in Atlanta as well Sunday when a tree fell on his house. Kevin Uretsky, Fox News.
Israel ramping up its military action against the militant group Hezbollah in southern Lebanon ahead of a ceasefire that will go into effect this week. Fox's Griff Jenkins.
The Israeli Air Force confirming it struck several military strikes in Lebanese territory where Hezbollah activity was reported. This comes 2 days before the deadline for Israel to withdraw its forces from southern Lebanon under a ceasefire deal implemented back in November between Israel and the militant group Hezbollah.
The Lebanese state-run news agency saying a woman was killed, several others were injured when Israeli forces opened fire and people returned to their homes in southern Lebanon. The Israeli military has yet to comment. And high grocery prices continue to hurt consumers as egg prices are at record levels due to the bird flu outbreak. National Economic Council Director Kevin Hassett on CBS's Face the Nation criticizing former President Biden.
We found out that the stagflation that was created by the policies of President Biden was way worse than we thought. Over the last 3 months across all goods, including eggs, the average inflation rate was 4.6%, way above target, and an acceleration at the end of the Biden term.
I'm Ted Linder. This is Fox News.
Altima. Titan. Even the iconic Z. Nissan Guam wants to make up to 6 months payments on your next car, truck, or SUV. That's right, up to 6 payments on us. Or choose APR as low as 2.99%. Get pre-qualified for financing in just minutes. First timer, we've got you covered with our exclusive first-time buyer program. Don't miss the Ride of the Nissan sales event for a limited time only. On approved credit, some conditions apply. See Nissan Guam for details.
Hi there, folks. I'm Colonel Sanders, and it is official. The best thing to pair with my delicious KFC chicken is more chicken. My new KFC chicken and hot wings deal starts with a 10-piece bucket of drumsticks and thighs, 2 large sides of red rice, and 6 of my KFC hot wings for only $35. Save as much as $7. What a deal! That's more KFC chicken for less money. My new chicken and hot wings deal is here for a limited time at your nearest KFC. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Always here to help you. This island is our home. Through the years, we've been a friend to the neighbors we have known. Now we're banking on the future. Their services to choose. Bank Pacific, where others put branches, we place roots.
We'd like to thank you, Siduas Maasi, for sharing your secret to love. Every secret was wonderful and heartfelt. Thank you to our fine sponsors of this year's Secret to Love. Vince Jewelers, Studio 211, Fontaine from GU Ink Hustle Tattoo and Body Piercing Studio, Tove's Flower Shop, Stelstar, and Wear Clothing Buddies Home Furnishings, Crowns Guam, Riga Royal Laguna Guam Resort, and Elevensis. Thanks for sharing the secret to love with us on Star 101, Boss 104, and The Point. Stay tuned.
The time is 6:07. It is Veterans with Benefits. Your hosts, Anthony Tyron and Corinna Ballista, on this President's Day.
Half a day. Welcome back. Hello, hello. You're listening to us on The Point. You can call into 671-888-TALK. You can also, you're listening to us on 93.3. Of course, we always want to thank our sponsors, Ambrose Inc., Habzibah Family Medical Clinic, HMI, American Legion. Don't forget to visit them on every second Saturday for Steak Day. Zawilo.org. Thank you to Peter and his team. Master Blasters. for all of your sandblasting needs. 11Z's. I think I got red raspberry tea next door.
Very good. And the proprietor over there.
Oh, Virgin. Yes. And Miss Grace.
What did you say?
Verge.
He's going to be mad at me because I always forget his name.
Verge.
Okay.
Yes.
His favorite drink is the black coffee that Charlie has.
Oh, wow. We didn't introduce our
I know,
guest
sorry.
yet, but.
Yeah, okay. So, yeah, thank you for all that, but that's his favorite drink.
Yes. And you can get 11% discount veterans and military. And then also Domino's.
Yes, that's Dane Titano over there. He's also the sponsor for our Veteran of the Week.
Mm-hmm. And the Most Services and GTC Services. So thank you to our sponsors. And then I get to read Veteran of the Week.
Yay.
So happy. Veteran of the Week is Rose Moffness. Rose Moffness comes from a proud lineage of military service, deeply rooted in a tradition of dedication and sacrifice. As a military brat, she was raised in a family of veterans, with her father, Roman Moffness, serving as a Vietnam War veteran. The commitment to service continued with her son, Justin Michael, who served on active duty in the U.S. Air Force. Following in her family's footsteps, Rose enlisted in the U.S. Army in 1988. She was stationed at Fort Carson, Colorado, before deploying to Saudi Arabia and Iraq in support of Operation Desert Shield and Operation Desert Storm. She served honorably as an E4 in the Army, embracing the challenges of military life and the responsibility of defending her country. Years later, her passion for service led her to join the U.S. Air Force Reserve in 2005. Initially starting in the medical field, she later cross-trained into the dental field, expanding her expertise in military healthcare. Through her dedication and leadership, she advanced to the rank of E5 in the Air Force Reserve. Beyond her military service, Rose is deeply connected to her Chamorro culture and is actively involved in the Tutuha Hula fitness group, where she celebrates and promotes cultural traditions through dance and fitness. Her message to young people is one of inspiration and guidance. If you are unsure of the direction you want to take, a military career can be a meaningful way to start your journey. Serving your country is a memorable and life-impacting experience that builds discipline, resilience, and purpose. Rose Moffness continues to embody the values of service, heritage, and mentorship, encouraging the next generation to explore the opportunities and rewards of military service. Thank her for her service. Let us honor her service, Rose Moffness, Veteran of the Week. All right.
Yay, congratulations.
And then
be sure you go pick up your pizza over at Dane at Domino's.
Yes, and I already sent Dane her flyer.
If you don't want your pizza, please get it and give it to me. I can make good use of it or give it to somebody else. I'm just kidding. Go get your pizza.
All right. So now Anthony will read question of the week and tip of the week.
All right. So
Yes.
I have the presumptive conditions for Agent Orange exposure. So the VA recognizes certain medical conditions as presumptive for veterans exposed to Agent Orange. During the Vietnam War and other locations, this means that if you served in a qualifying location and developed one of these conditions, the VA automatically assumes it was caused by Agent Orange exposure, eliminating the need to prove a direct service connection. So Agent Orange presumptive conditions would be cancers, Hodgkin's disease, multiple myeloma, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, prostate cancer, respiratory cancers, soft tissue sarcomas, bladder cancer. Cardiovascular and metabolic conditions like hypertension, ischemic heart disease, type 2 diabetes. Neurological and movement disorders, Parkinson's disease, peripheral neuropathy, early onset, skin conditions, chloracne, I can't pronounce this one. PCT, it's a rare liver disorder causing skin sensitivity, must manifest within 1 year of exposure. Other conditions, I think she's really testing me on this one. AL amyloidosis, abnormal protein buildup in organs. Qualifying locations for Agent Orange exposure. To qualify for presumptive service connection, you must have served in specific locations during the recognized exposure periods, like Vietnam, 1962 to 1975. Blue Water Navy was 1962 to 1975. And you're eligible under Blue Water Navy Vietnam Veterans Act of 2019. So it took our boys and girls that were in the Navy in the blue water from the Vietnam era all the way up until 2019 before they were able to claim exposure to Agent Orange. And the story around that is, as a result of the studies, they found that the Agent Orange washed out from inland out into the waters, and it made its way out to the blue waters. And while it was out there, they were taking that up in the ships during Vietnam, and they were eating, showering, drinking, and doing all the stuff they needed to do from the Agent Orange waters. And that's where the blue water folks were able to finally get something in 2019. And that's not that far away from today. And it took them that long for them to allow these folks to finally claim direct exposure. The other one would be Thailand, 62 to 76. Laos, December 65 to September 69. Cambodia, 69 to 69. April 16 to April 30. Guam and American Samoa, January 62 to July 31st, 1980. Johnston Atoll, January 72 to September 77. C-123 aircraft crews, that's Agent Orange reservists. Veterans who flew in or maintained C-123 aircraft used in Agent Orange spray missions from 1969 to 1986. You can read more about the Agent Orange exposure at va.gov. Use your GI Bill benefits wisely. If you haven't used your GI Bill benefits, you still have the opportunity to take advantage of education, technical training, and even housing assistance. The GI Bill is one of the most valuable benefits available to veterans, and using it strategically can maximize your long-term success. What does the GI Bill cover? Tuition and fees, monthly housing allowance, books and supplies stipend. You get up to $1,000 per academic year for books and supplies. That is pretty good. Training programs beyond traditional college. You can get technical and trade schools, flight training, on-the-job training, entrepreneurship training, non-college degree programs, cybersecurity, IT certifications, EMT training. There's relocation assistance. The types of GI Bill programs are post 9/11, Montgomery GI Bill, Montgomery GI Bill Selected Reserve, and those are the three. Transferring GI Bill benefits to family members. If you haven't used your GI Bill and are still on active duty or within certain limits after discharge, you may be able to transfer your benefits to your spouse or children. Okay, eligibility requirements to transfer benefits. You must be at least 6 years of service and commit to serving 4 more years. Your spouse or children must be enrolled in DEERS. Children must use the benefits before turning 26. You can divide the benefits among multiple dependents. Okay, how to use your GI Bill benefits wisely. Plan ahead, maximize the housing allowance, look for schools in the Yellow Ribbon program, use it for certification or trades, and transfer benefits if needed. If you're not planning on using it, consider transferring it to a spouse or child before leaving service. And there is your tip of the week and your question of the week. They all sounded like tip of the week, though, but it's okay.
Same thing.
Lots of stuff.
Yeah,
and
it's all for veterans, and this is information they do not know. Every time we run into veterans, like, did you know? No, I didn't know that. Did you want to say hello?
I wanted to say hello to Knox and Aaliyah and to my mom.
All right. So before we talk about anything else, in about, 15, 16, 17 minutes, is the premiere of our podcast on QAM. So at 6:30 p.m., Bob Kelly goes, I'm confused. What do I watch? I said both. So let's say hello to all of those online. Edward Buendicho, half a day.
Hey.
Brennan Fausto, good evening, veteran warfighters. Elizabeth Kichichu, half a day. Edward. Rose Mofnas, veteran of the week. She said, thank you very much. Korean Anthony, God bless you. Aww. And then Bob Kelly.
Our pleasure.
Bob Kelly, I'm confused. Do I tune into KOAM or stay on the point? And I said both.
Well, here's a technical answer for that.
Oh, what is the answer? What is the answer?
We are live streaming on Facebook and on the HMI YouTube channel.
Okay.
And I'm assuming the podcast is also a pre-recorded event.
Yes, it is.
So watch this live.
Okay.
And then watch the podcast later, or you can listen to the podcast, and then you can also watch the rebroadcast of this at your convenience on Facebook, on The Point, or the HMI YouTube channel.
And KOAM, I think KOAM's also putting it on their Instagram.
There you go.
And
so many choices.
And
Yes.
that's why, my friends, Jose is our producer.
Yes, thank you, Jose.
All right.
and then Dr. Komahafa Day Warfighters and Auntie Bennett. Where have you been? I haven't seen you in a while. Good evening, everyone. So those are the comments that we have. So I don't know how this is going to happen. I wish we were watching it. I guess you can watch it, Jose, while we're talking. I don't know.
And I think it's going to continue to play throughout the
month. Yeah,
Yes.
throughout the month. But I'm excited. So for the very first episode, we had Nick Delgado,
Yes.
who from KOM, who is a veteran, and Mr.
Pete
Anderson.
yes.
Who's
Who is
also a veteran. Yes. So it's all veteran issues.
Yeah.
If you didn't hear from us enough, we will also be on a podcast. But there's just so much information, which I guess that is a segue into we have to introduce our guest.
A man who needs no introduction.
He always does that.
He doesn't.
He always
is
says he always says a man who needs no introduction.
No,
with us we
I
have.
looked around for a second. I
You're
was like,
so funny. We have Charlie Hermosa with us on tonight, and he's also a veteran.
yes, thank you so much. Always love being here. So whenever you want to bring me back, just let me know. We have very great discussions before the show. Let's see if we can.
If we can bring the ones that we're allowed to talk
say,
about.
yes.
What?
Yes.
What?
But real quick, but what Jose just did is exactly where this streaming is really going. Because one of the things that they're doing is really like you can play back all the shows whenever you want. So when you had to rush home at 6 p.m. and watch the news, and now
No longer.
now you can play you make your playlist, and you could
Rewatch it.
rewatch it. Or no, set it to the times that you want to watch it. So. So, one of the things I think that, I think Jose's right on it. One of the things I think you may want to do is find the, how they do it in that world with YouTube, so that it's programmed to play in everybody's homes, say at 8 or, at 8 p.m. it starts popping up. So everybody can, listen to the show or watch the show, and then listen and watch the podcast at the same time. So.
I'm excited because we never have enough time on this show to talk about all the things we're going to talk about. We're over there talking about what we're going to talk about, and Charlie's like, oh, and then I'm going to introduce myself, and it's 6:59. It's okay, Charlie.
But like you said, I think that the information that you're putting out there is well received, and I think that an hour sometimes is not even enough.
Not enough.
It's not enough. So. In other means, so maybe the podcast will serve as another avenue for.
Definitely.
Now, do you know how long that podcast is, or?
We haven't seen the cut yet, what it is, but I know we recorded, I think, a whole hour, I think. I'm not sure how long it is.
Yeah.
They're going to premiere it, and then we'll see.
Well, and like with most things, right, it's generally, we got to get all the supporters in there for the podcast, so there's usually folks that are, sponsors of some sort or, advertisements to help, push these things through. That's how it works everywhere. So that's part of it. So, yes.
No, that's great. I mean, again, between what's happening with the radio and the live broadcast on Facebook and, Instagram and YouTube, and now the podcast, that's the and you see the news really shifting towards that type of
podcast.
Yeah, the podcast sort of, sharing of information type.
Yes, and importantly, right, there's a huge need for us to continue this. And, it was Lee Weber who wanted us to push out a communications campaign about a lot of the stuff that we do, right? And it tells us that the veterans have a lot of things going on. And in spite of all we've been doing boot camps with HMI going on 3 years now, more than 3 years, right? And that's just the traditional boot camps. We have boot camps for organizations as well, and then active duty folks. We've gone and done mini boot camps, right? So there are a lot of things that we have been doing, and even with all these things, we're still finding veterans that still need a lot of help, right? So we haven't even scratched the surface.
I mean, we just spoke to one right before the show.
Exactly. And
and that's like not planned, not scripted.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
At a coffee shop, right? I mean, and that, so if you really think you're like reaching the masses, like, it's like, man, we're only sort of touching just a little bit of what we're, the outreach side.
But go ahead.
And that's a great thing about what we did last year, right? And I think it sunsets this month. The year of the veteran, right, was last year, and it really did bring to light a lot of things that have been going on with our veterans, and maybe this is what we're needing to do, right? If we let up, right, and not continue to do these things and talk about the things that we need done for our veterans, right, some of it may fall to the wayside, or we may not capture the folks that really need the help. And we really got to set the foundation, put the infrastructure in, and get everything going so that we don't have to continue to do this again a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now. If we do it correctly, get it going, and let this thing continue to help the veterans from the future to just walk into something where they can just seamlessly get the things that they need when they need it.
And what I did want to say about the person we met earlier is they are connected with us, but what he did was he gave up. So he did go to our benefits boot camp, he did file his claim, and he did go to a CMP examiner, but it was a CMP examiner who turned him off. He said, she was mean to me, she said this, and so then he just gave up. So that's another message we need to push out, that you cannot give up. I met a friend last night at dinner, and she said, I have a friend that works in the Hawaii office, and she said that it's faster for us to deny the veteran because we have to meet a certain quota than to actually read their records. No. So that is not, and we've heard that before. So it's not. It's another reason why veterans should not give up.
No, I mean, and I think that it's information that needs to be shared, right? So going back to your point, so a lot of momentum. 2024 had a lot of momentum, and I think that we can't wait for, and we've seen it. And so what I think you're saying is the fact that if you're going to wait for anything to happen, it's not going to happen.
That's right.
So 2025, I think that it's a very pivotal year, not only because we have a new administration on the federal side. There's a lot of things going on with the congressman's office, right? A lot of things. We're seeing a lot of letters going out there, which is very positive. Probably a lot more than we've seen in the past. But I think that going to our discussion before is it's one thing getting those things out in the open, sending letters, but who's going to make it happen? Like how are we going to be able to push that so it can actually see the result of what we're trying to push for?
Yeah, and when we were first organizing HMI, right? We weren't exactly sure, what it is that we were going to target, right? And then when we said, well, let's just target things like, filing for your claims, the basic things. And then as we thought about it, right, and even when we went out and did some research, right, I'm sorry, outreach, there was a gentleman who stood up, Vietnam era. Why do we need another organization again, right, with, for veterans, right? And, it seemed a bit, disheartening, and it's like, wow, I guess, they got everything covered. You know what I mean? The welcoming was to the point where it appeared that when they said that, oh, everybody's doing what they need to do. We're getting all the funding we need. Veterans are taken care of. But that was the furthest thing from the truth. As a matter of fact, when we started doing what we were doing, we found out that nobody was doing what we were doing. There was minimal to no outreach. There was nobody sitting down, calling our veterans and talking to them and letting them know things about how they can continue to pursue their claim even after they get denied. And a lot of these things that we're talking about tend to let us know that, hey, there's more than enough work to go around out there. All we got to do is find something that we like doing. If nobody's doing it, start doing it, right?
Yeah, for me, it took almost, probably a good 15 to 18 years. And I went initially through the San Francisco process.
Oh, wow.
And I gave up because, it's a large city, right? So here, when we talk about the veterans, you probably have one or two family members within within your household that are veterans. So you had that conversation. Yeah. It's a little different when you go off island, right? Because it's a bigger city.
It's spread out.
It's very spread out. So asking that question wasn't really anything that was in the open when we had discussions in different meetings and so forth. So I gave up. And so it wasn't until, I sat down here when, they were like, wait a minute, these are the steps that you do this. No. And so, again, it goes back to the outreach. Yeah. And so the boot camps, to me, really serve as the initial sort of hook, right? Because you got to get them in. Yeah. You get a lot of spouses.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right?
We invite the spouses all the time.
And that's the one thing that you guys need to continue to push is because, sometimes on both ends, male and female.
Right. Yes.
You both, we get like sometimes a sense of like pride that, that doesn't really, that's not for us. Right. And that's the part that we need to kind of break the taboo that it's not for me. Like I'm doing well. Right. We got to break through that.
Yes, we do.
And with that thought, you said break?
Yes, we are going on a break. You're listening to us on The Point 93.3. We'll be right back.
76 Circle K introduces My Rewards 2.0, the loyalty program you love made even better. Save 5 cents per gallon every day just for being a member. Earn 1 point for every dollar you spend on fuel or store purchases. Plus, get 5 bonus points for every gallon when you purchase mid-grade or premium fuel. Redeem your points for big savings like up to 75 cents off per gallon or $20 gift certificates. Plus, enjoy exclusive club rewards, free hot dogs, coffee, and more. Download the My Rewards app today from the App Store or Google Play. 76 Circle K My Rewards 2.0. Better rewards, bigger savings.
Guam basketball fans, are you ready? The FIBA Asia Cup qualifiers are hitting our shores. And Team Guam needs you in the stands, louder than ever. The UOG Cabo Fieldhouse is going to be rocking. Get ready for 2 electrifying showdowns. Thursday, February 20 at 7:30 p.m. Team Guam takes on Mongolia in a big rematch to determine who will advance to the next round. Sunday, February 23rd, Guam versus China is history in the making. Score your 2-game package now before they're all gone. Head to guamtime.net. Tickets are flying off the shelves. This is more than just a game. It's a chance to show our island pride and a rare chance to enjoy high-level FIBA action, live and in person. Don't miss the basketball event of the year. Let's go, Guam!
Listen to The Point anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Find your favorite stations like The Point and discover more. Music stations, local and trusted news sources, sports talk and team coverage, plus today's biggest podcasts. Find it all on the Odyssey app. AUDACY.
are back. You're listening to us on The Point, 93.3. So some of the comments we have online from Johnny Atulai Taitano. He says, tell Tony to pull his cap back so we could see his face. The cat bill is casting a shadow on his face. I'm watching. Then Auntie Joanne says, I'm watching. Brennan Fausto, good evening, sir. USMC Warfighters. Robert Kelly, Bob Kelly. This week I'm watching at an altitude of 80 feet elevation and 20 feet third floor.
Oh.
Not 36,000 feet. Okay, Bob. Okay, Bob. And then Johnny Atulai Taitano says, who's your guest? He looks kind of familiar. And then Jose said he needs no introduction, like Anthony says. John Coleman, he says, Trump's cleaning house with these deniers. I guess that's because we were talking about, veterans getting denied. And then he said, yes, exactly, 2025 year of the veteran. And then I wanted to just share some of the events that we just wrapped up. We wrapped up Benefits Boot Camp 37 in Inalahan. Great turnout. Thank you to the mayor, Mayor Chargaloff. That was beautiful down there. The food was amazing. What did we have? We had...
Oh, really?
We had kadu.
We had curry.
We had curry. We had
it was delicious.
Coconut crab.
Yes.
We did, yeah.
Maybe you should put the menu out first before... be like, hey, you're like, whoa.
Hey, let me tell you, even the mayor said, I was asking somebody here, hey, so how come you came all the way down? Because I heard the food's going to be good.
Look. Oh, he's showing the picture. Look at that. It's nice. So that's the new memorial they just opened up. So that's the Inalahan Veterans Memorial.
Amazing.
Yeah.
It is so nice. So we asked them about these latte stones. So each latte stone has the service on it, and all the veterans that are serving, still serving and have served, have a little placard there from the village. So that is so nice. And then we also, our next boot camp is Boot Camp 38, March 11 to 13 at Santa Rita Senior Citizen Center.
Mm-hmm.
And that will be from 5:30 to 8:30 p.m. And then we have our Veterans Summit, March 18 to 20 at the Sunrise Conference Center. So for those that are asking for a boot camp up north, the last day of the summit will be a boot camp. And then thank you to the veterans for chatting with the coach. So we meet veterans twice a week, every Wednesday and every Saturday. So this Saturday, they supported a student who is going on a school trip, Veribel Taitano. So the veterans went and supported her on her bake sale. So thank you to all the veterans that showed up for her. And then...
Was she helping you
She
do
was.
something?
She was helping me with the veterans,
So
yes.
maybe she should count that on her
yes.
service work, right?
Yes, and then next week she's getting inducted to NJHS. So that's part of her write-up.
Nice.
Is that she does volunteer work with her auntie. And then what else? Let me see. Oh, Quality of Life Expo. That is this weekend. And I do have to mention that our Veteran of the Week will be performing at the Quality of Life Expo on Saturday. That's going to be at UOG, and we're going to be there. Charlie, do you know what time it starts?
It's going to be from 1 to 5.
1 to 5. Yes. Okay. So HMI will be there. And
That's the Quality of Life?
Yeah,
1
Quality
to
of
5?
Expo. 1 to 5. But I think we have to set up by
Oh, yeah, no,
10.
before, yeah, exactly.
We have to set up by
in the
10,
morning.
right? Yeah. Okay. I forgot what time that was. And then so Rose will be performing at Quality of Life Expo, and that will be at UOG 1 to 5.
Okay.
Whew, that's a lot. That is a lot. Oh, no, West Care. West Care is having their event February 28th. It's called Win-Win. It's a hiring veterans event. Hiring veteran event.
Yeah.
At the Sinahanya Mayor's office from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m.
So it's a 2-hour event.
2-hour event.
And they're going to have some folks there that are going to have tables and some...
I think they're having a guest speaker. And yes, they're going to have... Are you going to... HMI is going to be there, I think.
Oh, that's me.
I think so.
Oh, yes.
I think HMI will be there.
Yes. Very nice.
At the event. So a lot of things going on. And, before we went on break, we talked about, all the things that are happening for veterans and how we just have so much info to push out.
And although we're very busy, right? I think Charlie is even busier.
Oh my gosh, yes, Charlie. Tell us what you do. I mean, some veterans know you, but not all veterans know you.
No, for sure. And one of the things that we were talking on before was, again, and I think 2025 is going to be very pivotal because new administration's coming in.
Mm-hmm.
There seems to be a lot of action going on the federal side. So, We need to continue to push. I think our senator, Senator Sabrina, is doing a phenomenal job supporting us, right? And I think that, for anytime she gets the group together, it seems like the next day she's really putting something out, and hopefully we'll have a hearing, in the short term, to deal with issues that are happening here locally. But a lot of stuff happening on the federal side. There was a comment made as far as president is really going to streamline the process.
They have to.
And they have to. There's no other way that this is going to work. So, but here locally, I think that we need to continue that momentum.
Yes.
And so there's a couple of things that I think we still need to fix. with the commission,
Yes.
right?
I hear they're going to be open. They're having a meeting.
They're having a meeting. Yeah.
The end of the
February 28th and March 5th.
But we got to make sure. Did they put out the
that it's
advertisement
advertised?
or not yet?
I'm pretty sure Senator Tom Matters watching out for the date.
Yeah, I think they put out. I think 2 weeks before. I think it has to be put out. I think that was something
10 days or something.
Something along the lines.
Yeah. Well, so another thing to talk about as we're discussing this, it appears that there are going to be quite a few people heading out to the halls of Congress, and these folks are taking messages to Congress about things going on here on Guam. I don't know that we have anything like organized, or I'm not sure what they're going out there to say. Now, when we talk about that, right, from a veteran's perspective, is anybody out there bringing our concerns out there? And if we're going to Congress, there has to be some level of, hey, here's what's going on here on island, right? And I think we were talking about that over there, about what's really going on with us. And maybe that's one step. But, we got folks like our Armed Forces Committee heading out there through the chamber.
And they do a great job walking the halls, right? Making sure that they touch and shake hands with the folks that are really supporting us.
Right.
And then I think, there's definitely a business component to that.
And that's what we talked about, right? And that's what their main focus is, right? And one of the things that, I've been really talking a lot about is trying to build business on the backs of our veterans. And that's in a nice way, right? When I say that, it's like there are so many things that already exist here that we can do now, right? We're looking for tourists, right? We need more tourists to come into the island. If we look at medical tourism from the standpoint of, hey, there's a program known as the Foreign Medical Program where U.S. dollars are being spent over in, the Asian area. If we could get those numbers and those veterans to come to Guam and let them, use the services here, or we build our services. I mean, we are U.S. soil the last time I checked. So why is it that we're dumping so much money outside of the United States? Maybe we should start looking at Guam. Maybe we need to do things here so that we're taking care of people who are U.S. citizens, And the thing I've often mentioned that I talk about whenever I get an opportunity is a 50% rated veteran in the Foreign Medical Program, and that would be Korea, Japan, Thailand, Taiwan, Vietnam. These folks, if they're in these locations and they're 50% rated for mental health, will only receive 50%, they'll only receive coverage from the VA for their service-connected condition. If we can attract those numbers over here to Guam and they buy a timeshare, get a business out here, and make Guam their home, right? I mean, they can travel back and forth. When they do that, they now are able to take advantage of all the services here on Guam.
And
medical services.
And Jose, maybe we can record the soundbite. And I agree with you, Anthony.
Oh, my goodness.
Record the soundbite. Oh, my gosh.
And because you're absolutely correct.
Yeah.
Because if we continue to look at this in the old school way, which it's gone.
Right.
Right. And so these are the things that we need to be looking at, really. And it's when you really put it on the table and you start dissecting it just the way you did it, it doesn't really seem that far off, right? It doesn't mean like something like drastic, like
No,
we're gonna
and it's already happening. Remember,
exactly.
Yeah,
It exists.
We talked to the veteran, right, who said that they live in Saipan, and the past two weeks they got sent from Saipan to Guam to attend their VA appointment.
No, and so now we have to take those case studies, right? Because we can use those as examples on how it's working. And then we start massaging it and really making it more process oriented.
Yes.
So that when we present it, we say, okay, this is the way the program needs to work. And I think that it's not only going to help our veterans, but our economy right now, right? I mean, that's the other that's the other thing that needs to.
And we talked about that a little bit. So what we're doing with getting our veterans to go up to the CBOC and apply and see if they qualify for medical care. Everybody that gets counted up there, whether they have a rating or not, right? That brings jobs to this island. That triggers the VA looking in Guam and saying, hey, this guy needs help, this girl needs help, this guy needs help. So our numbers start to show even more, so that the VA looks down and that says, hey, we got to take care of this person, so they got to help that person. So that's a sign that we need more help.
But and the other flip side to that, and what I also wanted to note was the fact that I recently became the president of the Guam ACTE, and so that's the Association of Career and Technical Education.
Congratulations!
No, thank you. I'm very proud of that.
Yes.
I'm very honored to have the opportunity to be part of that association. But one of the things that what I think about is, all our veterans, whether they were enlisted, officer, they all come out with certain leadership traits.
Yes.
That would translate into whether it's creating their own business, education.
Yes.
And so the other part that not only with the benefits from the health perspective, but there's also educational benefits
yes. That's
that
right.
the veterans can take advantage of. Because I run into a lot of teachers who are veterans.
Yes.
And let me tell you, this is the one question I always ask them, because when those veteran teachers are in front of their classes, I mean, you could tell, right? I mean, I've walked into certain classes, you could see the level of like discipline these students, and I'm like, right on, this is the way. But
right.
and so one of the things that we want to do is actually build on that education, sort of bridging that gap between the educators, the teachers, and the community and our businesses, right? And so our business owners. And one of the things that we want to do is be able to shape what we're going to look like for the next 20, 25 years. Like, how is our teachers going to understand the level of what they need to be able to put in front of their students? Because, it's the why questions all the time. Like, you'll get students ask, like, why do I have to take physics? Like, why do I have to take English? Like, and so why do I have to take, mechanical, whatever? But now, so one of the things on February 27th, we're going to have a mixer. We're going to have a press release coming out. It's going to be in Cars Plus. And what we're trying to do is sort of bridge. We're going to have community, business owners meet the teachers, have that level of discussions where they're talking one-on-one, right? And saying, we're hiring these type of folks with these type of backgrounds. Right. Now the teachers go back and sort of create or have an idea of, okay, it seems like there's a lot of emphasis on, career tech on mechanical, like vehicles or drones per se, or on that sense, robotics.
Right.
And so that's so we have the mix on February 27th, and then on February 28th, we have a panel discussion at UOG starting at 5 p.m. At the auditorium, where, we're going to have about 8 panelists from a variety, from, policymakers, business owners, educators, just to kind of give their perspective on, what that really looks like, right? What education, how does that marry up with where we're heading towards from an economic development, education standpoint, and so forth. So really phenomenal. I'm really, and again, for the veterans, if there are any veteran teachers, please come out, and come out to the mixer and really meet the, the business owners and community leaders. I mean, that's who we want to be able to tap into. But yeah, I mean, that's another part of the aspect from benefits.
Yes,
right?
Of course, yeah. And we got to tap all of that stuff, right? Because if we don't, we're leaving a lot of money on the table and services that they could be using. So
Yes.
I think we got to go
on a break. All right. You're listening to us on The Point 93.3. Joe Roberto, can you call in? Because you said speak on something, but I don't know what you were talking about. You can call into 671-888-TALK. We'll be right back.
Howdy there, folks. I'm Colonel Sanders, and it is official. The best thing to pair with my delicious KFC chicken is more chicken. My new KFC chicken and hot wings deal starts with a 10-piece bucket of drumsticks and thighs, 2 large sides of red rice, and 6 of my KFC hot wings for only $35. Save as much as $7. What a deal! That's more KFC chicken for less money. My new chicken and hot wings deal is here for a limited time at your nearest KFC. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
The strongest connections are built on the best network. Docomo Pacific has you covered with business fiber internet speeds up to 5 gigs and hybrid fiber internet speeds up to 200 megabits per second. Transform your business connectivity with fast, reliable, and affordable fiber solutions. And the best part, you can save even more when you bundle DTV and mole services. Visit business.docomopacific.com/fiber for everyone to learn more. Some conditions apply.
And we're back. I'm going to read some of the comments you have online. Bill Salisbury says, Viva HMI. Thank you for your service. HMI boots on the ground. Johnny Atulai says, your podcast is on now on KOAM. Looks nice. Later. Joe Roberto, could you all speak on the VA office? Just heard on the radio. Lots of issues. So we did talk about that during the break, Joe. So if you can call in, I'm not sure what it is specifically. Did you want us to talk about? Because when we were talking here in the break, I mean, there's so many issues going on right now with the veterans, and I'm just not sure what issue that is. But one thing we did want to bring up was brain mapping.
Sure.
So at Dr. Coma's clinic, during chatting with the coach, they were there. I think it's called New Phase.
Yeah, and it's
New Phase?
Yes.
Yeah, so they offered brain mapping sessions to those with Medicare?
Yeah, because right now there's only Medicare coverage at the moment, and we're working on getting all the other insurances on board. And usually if Medicare's on there, there's a good chance TRICARE, TriWest, and TRICARE, did I say that already?
You did.
Medicare, well, because they're Medicare, so TRICARE, TriWest, and potentially Medicaid, right? Because Medicaid falls under the federal side. So hopefully that'll all cover, as well as even just the traditional insurances out there that we have, the civilian side.
Yeah, hopefully they'll hop on and take part of it and cover it.
Yeah, and it's really new technology, and what's really good about it's early detection for things like dementia, Parkinson's,
PTSD, anxiety, depression.
And everything that it can cover is going to be helpful. I spoke to a guy that went to a really intense program for TBI and PTSD, and I showed him the video, and I asked him, hey, was this anything like what you did for your your scan? Because I think he got an MRI, right? So he said, no, this is more advanced. So in his eyes, what this is doing is a lot more in-depth, because I wanted to really push what he was doing for a lot of our veterans that might be available. But we'll talk about that a little bit later.
Yes. And then do we want to talk about the congressman's memo that was sent out? There were a few items on that.
No. And again, you can, we'll not need another hour to go through
right?
2 hours. 2 hours for sure. For sure.
2 hours.
But I think in a nutshell, I think that it's trying to cover some of the issues that have been happening here locally, and addressing them to the federal side. So I think hopefully everybody, I think at this point, whoever is interested in reading that, I think should take the opportunity and time to read it thoroughly and have their own opinion on what was brought up. Yeah. But it goes back to again, I think that there's definitely a side that we need to have some presence on the federal side, right? We need to keep knocking on that door, but we can't let up here, right? And that's when I think hopefully, and again, hopefully, 2025 really shapes up to take the next phase of what 2024 was.
And even if it doesn't, like all things that we do as veterans, we keep fighting.
Yeah,
we keep going.
Absolutely.
Because what are we going to do? Wait? I mean, you and I have differences on whether we should get a naval, get our own veterans hospital. And as I look at the things that are happening to our veterans, and maybe we can talk about this at the next show, but some of the articles I write are actually true stories of veterans talking to me about some of the issues. You know, getting on base. It's not a big thing, right? It's still, hey, they got to follow rules. Hey, they got to do these things. But, when you really look at it, right, if I'm trying to get on base, I'm a 70-year-old man, and I'm saying, hey, I got 100% ID. My driver is so-and-so, and, his letter's expired, right? And we're so scrutinizing the fact that, hey, a 70-year-old old man with a driver, did we vet his ID? Could this be an instance of maybe the driver or the veteran who's older didn't put all these things together, right? If that's the idea, and we're preventing a guy who should be on base access to base because we want to protect against a driver who we've already vetted on an expired letter from, the visitor center, right? Yeah, we got to follow all the rules. So that's okay. But yet, when we did the test of the missile, we had some Chinese watching that. If we're challenging our folks who are vetted, and yet we couldn't keep up with that, maybe, we're looking at the wrong enemy here.
Well, that's a tough one.
Yes. It's an extreme, I know.
No. But I think that I don't disagree with you. I think that our arguments have been the mechanism to how to get the hospital, right? Because we could really go against the tide and try to fight for it, but or find a way to be able to make it happen, and that's sort of where. And I think that the articles that you've sent me, some articles that Bob has sent us as well on, and so for me, I think that our sort of my approach right now, like if I was to talk to the congressman, is if this state has it, why not us?
Right.
Or if anything's happening anywhere on the mainland side, why not us? Like why are we not having those same capabilities here? So that's sort of the approach. So then the next part would be like, okay, how do we make it happen? Right. That is the critical part. How do we make it happen? Because I think if somebody was to give us a checklist and say, and this checklist always is going to have this point number one that's going to say number of veterans, right? That's always going to be the center line. But we got to get past that somehow. We got to get past
and we've already done that multiple times. So there are places that it's not the numbers.
Right. And you've shown me that, right? And so that's why I've said, you know what, you're right.
Yeah. And to a point that, for some reason, I keep getting pulled into this, right? As much as I've been told, no, you can't have it, right? I'm like, initially I started saying, just because they said no, I'm going to go after it. But now I've actually taken the time to say, hey, you know what? Let me listen to what they're saying.
Right.
And every time they tell me these things, I try to find, well, maybe what about this, or how about this, and why isn't this working like this, and is there something else, right? It's about a question of what is it that I'm asking, right? And then what are the solutions? What are the options? And here's something that I don't know that we've really talked about, right? These states, right, are exactly that. They're a state. Right. These tribes, they're tribes. We're none of that, which means they have made money to dump into these places, states and tribes, from Congress saying, hey, these people are these things. We're not that. So don't come to me and say, hey, you know what? The state over here has this and that. That's because they're a state. I'm not a state. And if you're going to sit here and compare me to them while all the while they're getting federal funding, hey, they're paying into different taxes, but I didn't ask you to be my parent. You know what I mean? You're my parent, and you agreed to take care of me, so I'm sorry, that comes with all these things,
Now, I haven't really read, and I'm going to read it fully, Dr. Underwood's comments, or he made a statement about
Elon?
Guam. No, Underwood. Dr. Underwood,
he did talk about Elon, sorry.
Oh, sorry, about Guam and Sinai possibly, the statehood, right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, right. Okay, so The one comment that I would like to make, and whether it sounds political or not, so be it.
Yes.
Is the fact that we need to separate from Hawaii. I think that we have enough oomph to be able to be a standalone unit.
More than that, all you got to do is see the big city that they built up there at Camp Blas.
Right? I mean, no, absolutely. I mean, the newest Marine Corps base in years
exactly
is on Guam.
And here's the thing. The spigot is on. So that means the federal funding is coming in. However, we now have somebody new in there. But that I don't think that's going to change. The war mindset is not going to go away. Now, and we don't know truly what yet is to happen, right? But if truly the president is able to appease the masses, then we may not have a war. But that doesn't mean it's not going to change.
Oh no, I mean, it's and it's not going back talking about China.
Yes,
come on,
good.
It's not a maybe 4 years will be okay, maybe 8 years will be okay.
But what happens?
We got to be ready, right?
That's
I
right.
mean, we have to continue to prepare as we said. If we want peace, we have to prepare like we're going to go war,
yes.
right? And so, but right now, I think that. Even with the new Secretary of Defense, the amount of times that he's mentioned Guam is, that was in his first week.
Yep.
So I think that we need to use that into our advantage to be able to say, it's time for us to have a federal office or as Congressman Mullen said, a state director here.
And then keeping up all the things about people going out to Congress, our messages should be the same.
100%.
And we have to keep hitting at these things, and we can't let up. We can't let up just because, it's a new president, it's a new administration. These things for our veterans must continue.
Next week, we're going to have a couple on and share about their journey with the VA healthcare and that it actually worked with the help of Julian at the Congressman's office. So hopefully he calls in too and shares the story. But I think all veterans need to hear this story, and they'll be on next week. We'll see you guys all next week. You're listening to us on The Point.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Joe. Thanks, Jose. Thanks,
And
Charlie.
thank you for joining us, Charlie.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
We'll get you back on again.
All right, absolutely. Check with Johnny.
All right.
The Point is KUSG, Hagåtña, Guam, 93.3 FM and 104.3 HD3.
Vowing to thwart Iran. I'm Sue Guzman, Fox News. As Israel marks the 500th day since the October 7th Hamas terror attacks, Secretary of State Marco Rubio met with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu Sunday. Fox's Greg Palcott reports.
Marco Rubio wrapping up his first trip to Israel as Secretary of State, and it was pretty much a show of solidarity.